Have you ever felt that sudden electric shiver of having been here before, even though you know you have not? Have you ever met a moment so eerily familiar that you wondered if your life is following a script you cannot see? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to explore Deja vu in a way that is grounded enough to respect the mind and deep enough to respect the soul. Here are the two ideas we are going to live inside. First, Deja vu is not automatically a mystical sign. And it is not automatically meaningless either. Sometimes it is the brain doing brain things. And sometimes it is your inner life noticing a repeating pattern that wants your attention. Second, whether you believe in destiny or not, you always have a doorway of choice in the present moment. That doorway is where karma changes, where suffering loosens, and where your life stops repeating the same lesson in a different costume. Let us begin with the feeling itself. Deja vu is one of those experiences that almost everyone recognizes, even people who never talk about spirituality. It arrives suddenly, often in ordinary moments. You are walking into a cafe. You are sitting in a meeting. You are hearing someone say a sentence you have never heard before. And then for a few seconds, reality feels doubled. You feel as if you are remembering the present. Some people feel it as a chill on the spine. Some people feel it as a tightening in the stomach. Some people feel it as a soft glow of recognition. Some people feel a wave of unease, like the room has shifted 1 inch sideways. The most honest thing we can say is that Deja vu feels profound. Now here is what makes it interesting. The mind wants to explain it immediately. It wants to pin it down. It wants to decide whether it is spiritual destiny or a simple glitch. But the truth might be more nuanced. And that nuance is exactly where inner peace lies. Let me tell you a story. A man named Oliver once told me he had Deja vu so often that it started to scare him. He was not the kind of person who chased mystical experiences. He was practical. He worked in finance. He liked clear cause and effect. But for months, he would be in a perfectly normal moment. A grocery store aisle. A subway platform. An office hallway, and suddenly he would feel like he had already lived that scene. He said something that stuck with me. It feels like the universe is nudging me, but I do not know what it is trying to say. At first, Oliver tried to research scientific explanation. He read about the idea that Deja vu can happen when the brain processes information out of sync, as if one part of perception arrives a fraction of a second earlier, creating a false sense of familiarity. He read about memory recall errors, the mind tagging a new scene as remembered. He read about the brain doing pattern matching and mistakenly calling it a memory. Those explanations helped him feel less afraid. They grounded him. And grounding matters, because fear turns curiosity into superstition. But the scientific explanations did not fully satisfy him, because even if the mechanism is neurological, the timing of Deja vu still felt meaningful to him. It tended to appear when he was making major life decisions. So Oliver did something simple. He started tracking it. Every time Deja vu happened, he would write down what was happening in his life. Not the whole story, just the emotional climate. Was he stressed? Was he excited? Was he avoiding something? Was he at a turning point? Was he about to speak a truth he had been holding back? After a few weeks, a pattern emerged. Deja vu showed up when he was about to choose the safe path instead of the honest path. It showed up when he was about to agree with someone to keep peace even though his body said no. It showed up when he was about to repeat an old relationship habit. Overgiving, overperforming, over-apologizing. In other words, Deja vu was appearing when his life was approaching a familiar fork in the road. That is where our deeper question begins. Is Deja vu just a brain hiccup? Or is it a whisper about your journey? Here is a balanced way to hold it. Deja vu can be a brain phenomenon, and it can still be useful as a signal. A smoke alarm can be triggered by burnt toast, but it still reminds you to pay attention. The value is not only in the cause. The value is in how you respond. So, let us explore the destiny side for a moment. Human beings have been fascinated by fate for as long as we have been telling stories. The idea that life has a blueprint can be comforting. It can make suffering feel purposeful. It can make confusion feel guided. It can make random events feel like they belong to a larger design. You see this in ancient traditions, in myths, in religion, in philosophy. Some say your path is written. Some say your soul chose certain lessons. Some say you are walking through a script designed for awakening. Even people who do not use spiritual language still talk this way sometimes. They say things like it was meant to be. They say everything happens for a reason. They say it was fate. There are also the signs people associate with destiny. Synchronicity, like thinking of someone and then they text you. Recurring motifs, like the same number appearing or the same theme repeating. Meetings that feel perfectly timed. Doors that open unexpectedly. Doors that close even when you push. Belief in destiny can bring comfort, but it can also bring complacency. If you believe everything is already decided, you may stop taking responsibility for your choices. You may tolerate suffering because you call it fate. You may stay in harmful patterns because you tell yourself you are supposed to learn through pain. This is where wisdom asks for a middle path. Now let us explore the karma side. Karma is one of the most misunderstood words in modern culture. Many people think karma means the universe rewards good people and punishes bad people. That is a childish version. The deeper view is simpler and more practical. Karma is cause and effect. Karma is momentum. Karma is how actions and intentions shape the mind, and how the mind shapes future actions. Karma is not only about past lives. Karma is being planted right now. If you repeatedly choose people who cannot meet you emotionally, the effect is repeated heartbreak. If you repeatedly avoid hard conversation, the effect is resentment and disconnection. If you repeatedly numb your feelings, the effect is inner emptiness. If you repeatedly practice compassion, the effect is a softer mind and kinder relationships. Karma is not moral theater. It is patterned reality. This is why déjà vu can feel like karma echoing, because karma repeats until it becomes conscious. You might not repeat the same exact event, but you repeat the same emotional pattern. The same fear, the same craving, the same avoidance, the same role you play in relationships, the same self-betrayal disguised as kindness. When you repeat a pattern long enough, you begin to feel that eerie familiarity even before it fully happens. It is like your deeper awareness recognizes the beginning of the loop. That recognition can feel like déjà vu. So the real question becomes less about whether destiny is written and more about whether you are awake while your life is being written. This is where Buddhist insight becomes very helpful. Not as a religion you must join, but as a clean way to understand freedom. In Buddhist thought, karma is volitional action. It is what you intentionally do with body, speech, and mind. And because it is action, it can change. The future is conditioned, not fixed. You have influences, habits, and consequences. But you also have choice. This is the key. Choice does not mean you can control everything. Choice means you can respond differently. The Buddhist image of samsara is the wheel of repeated suffering, the cycle where the same cravings and fears keep turning. You chase, you cling, you avoid, you react, you repeat. And because you repeat, life keeps teaching the same lesson. Liberation is not a magical escape from reality. Liberation is the moment you see the wheel and stop feeding it. How do you stop feeding it? Mindfulness. Mindfulness is not just calm breathing. Mindfulness is the ability to notice what is happening in your mind and body before you act. That is where you can interrupt karma. Imagine you are about to send a message you do not really want to send. A message fueled by anxiety. Your mind says do it now. Your body feels tight. You feel the familiar urge to chase reassurance. That is a karmic loop. Mindfulness is the pause where you notice. This is the old urge. Then you choose. You breathe. You wait. You respond with wisdom instead of reflex. That is how you reshape reality. Now let me bring this to life with another story. A woman named Mia described Deja vu as her personal alarm bell. She would meet a new partner and feel instant recognition. Not just attraction. A sense of having known them. The relationship would then become intense quickly, full of highs and lows, and after a few months she would feel drained, confused, and smaller. For years, she called these connections soulmates. Then one day she had a Deja vu moment on a first date. The person said a sentence, something about not liking labels and wanting to keep it flowing. Mia felt a chill and a flash of familiarity. Her body remembered what her mind wanted to forget. Every time she had heard that sentence, it led to the same outcome: ambiguity, anxiety, chasing, self-abandonment. Mia paused. Not externally. She did not make a scene. Internally, she noticed the signal. She asked herself, is this destiny? Or is this karma repeating? Then she did something new. She asked a simple clarifying question with calm confidence. She said, I enjoy being here. I am looking for consistency and clarity. What are you looking for? The person dodged the question, stayed vague, smiled, changed the subject. Mia felt that same old pull to accept vagueness because she feared losing the connection. But this time she did not obey the pull. She ended the date politely and left. Later she told me, that was the first time Deja vu did not lead me into the same story. It led me out. That is the power of awareness. Now let us get practical. Because the purpose of this video is not to make you more mystical. It is to make you more free. When you experience Deja vu, here is a skillful way to work with it. First, do not panic. Fear turns the mind into superstition. Take one slow breath. Feel your feet. Let the moment be what it is. Second, ask a gentle question inside. What feels familiar here? Not what does the universe mean? Just what feels familiar. Is it the setting? Is it the conversation? Is it the emotional tone? Is it the way you are behaving? Is it the role you are stepping into? Third, notice whether the familiarity is common or contracting. Some familiarity is healthy, like walking into a supportive community and feeling you belong. Some familiarity is a warning, like stepping into an old pattern that has hurt you before. Your body often knows the difference. Fourth, ask yourself one more question. What choice is being offered right now? This is the most important step. Deja vu can be the moment your life offers a fork. Repeat the old loop, or choose a new response. Now let us talk about how to recognize karmic patterns in everyday life. Because Deja vu is only one doorway. The real work is in the pattern itself. Karmic patterns often show up as recurring challenges that have the same emotional flavor. You keep getting into relationships where you feel you must prove your worth. You keep ending up at jobs where you feel unseen and overworked. You keep finding yourself in friendships where you are the rescuer and you feel drained. You keep repeating conflict avoidance until resentment bursts. You keep delaying your dreams because fear wears a sensible costume. These patterns are not curses. They are unfinished lessons. And the present moment is always the place where the lesson can be completed. Now, some of you might be thinking, if destiny exists, does my choice matter? Here is the most grounded answer. Even if certain events are destined, your response is not predetermined. Your response is where your character is shaped. Your response is where your karma is planted. Your response is where peace is created. You can be destined to meet someone, but you are not forced to stay in suffering with them. You can be destined to face a challenge, but you are not forced to face it with bitterness. You can be destined to grow, but you get to choose whether you grow through awareness or through repetition. This is why Buddhist teaching emphasizes volition, intention, not control. Now let us move into actionable steps for breaking the cycle. The first practice is self-reflection with honesty. At the end of the day, take a few minutes and recall a moment that felt familiar in a painful way. A moment where you reacted automatically. A moment where you felt déjà vu in your life, not just in your perception. Ask, what was the trigger? Then ask, what did I feel in my body? Then ask, what story did my mind tell? Then ask, what did I do? Then ask, what would a wiser response look like next time? This trains your awareness. The second practice is conscious response. When you notice the pattern in real time, pause. Even one breath is enough. Name it silently. Old fear, old craving, old avoidance, old role. Then choose the smallest wise action. Sometimes the wise action is to speak truth calmly. Sometimes it is to step back. Sometimes it is to wait before texting. Sometimes it is to say no. Sometimes it is to ask for clarity. Sometimes it is to rest instead of pushing. Small actions change karma. The third practice is cultivating positive karma deliberately. Positive karma is not superstition. It is simple. Practice compassion. Not as a performance, as a habit. Practice honest effort. Do what you can without clinging to the result. Practice non-harm. Reduce the ways you create suffering for yourself and others. Practice gratitude without denial. Notice what is good without pretending pain is not real. Practice patience, especially in the moments you want to force. These are seeds. Seeds bloom later, but they are reliable. The fourth practice is minimalism training. If you want to break cycles, you need the skill of seeing them early. That skill grows through consistent mindfulness. You do not have to become a monk. You simply need a daily practice of returning to the present, even for a few minutes, and noticing thoughts without being owned by them. The mind is a pattern machine. Mindfulness is the light that reveals the machine. Now let us talk about empowerment, because this is the emotional heart of the topic. Many people feel helpless when they think about destiny. They say, if it is written, why try? Many people feel ashamed when they think about karma. They say, if I am repeating, it must be my fault. Both helplessness and shame are traps. The real message is agency without self-hatred. You are not to blame for every condition you were born into, but you are responsible for your response. Responsibility is not punishment. Responsibility is power. And the most beautiful part is this. You do not need to solve your whole life today. You only need to be awake for the next choice. Déjà vu can be the bell that wakes you up to that next choice. When you feel that eerie familiarity, treat it as a pause button. A moment to stop sleepwalking. A moment to ask whether you are stepping into an old loop or stepping into a new path. This is how you consciously shape destiny. Not by controlling every event, but by choosing your response with wisdom and compassion. Now I want to close with a simple image. Imagine your life as a road with many bends. Some bends you cannot see around. Some bends you have walked before. Déjà vu is like a sign on the side of the road that says, you are approaching a familiar turn. You can take the same turn at the same speed and end up in the same ditch. Or you can slow down, hold the wheel differently, and turn with awareness. Same road, different outcome. That is karma becoming freedom. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had déjà vu at a moment that later felt like a turning point? Have you ever recognized a repeating pattern and chosen differently? Share your story in the comments so we can learn together. If this video helped you see your life with more clarity, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment to support more long-form teaching. And if you want to go deeper with practices that help you break cycles and cultivate inner peace, consider becoming a member. Ending words for you. Your life is not just happening to you. Your life is responding to you. Wake up to the pattern. Choose with compassion. And let each moment of déjà vu become a doorway to a new destiny.
There comes a time when you realize you want something that belongs just to you. Something that brings comfort and keeps you connected to your inner world. Wall-crafted bracelet does exactly that. quietly, softly, and consistently. If you felt drawn to any bracelet in this video, you'll find the purchase link in the video description and many more auctions in the channel's storefront. Because sometimes the smallest item can bring the biggest sense of peace.